It's a male-only mental health institution in Mandeville, and the organization is now on a drive to stomp out the stigma as it relates to mental health in our men. So joining us this morning is Ebenezer's Rehabilitation Center Operations Manager, Paulette Wheeler. Morning, Paulette.
Good morning,
so good to have you on Smile Jamaica. Tell me a little bit about Ebenezer Rehabilitation and why it all started. Where did it all begin?
Well, it actually started in the year 2000. Well, prior to 2000, after Hurricane Gilbert, there was nowhere for the homeless and the street people to go. They were left on the streets and left, excuse me, left to the devices of the hurricane, and quite a few of them died. So out of that, a group of citizens came together under the umbrella of the Moravian Church, and Ebenezer Home at that time was born. And I must admit, we were opened by the then Prime Minister, the Honourable P.J. Pattison.
So you opened the home. So why now have you extended the services to mental health, and specifically for men?
Right. We extended the services to mental health because mental health is so catered for in Jamaica. Well, actually, I think it's a worldwide issue, but here in Jamaica, there is nowhere really for the mentally ill to go. So we extended the facility to take in homeless, mentally ill men, and we actually take our men from the streets. Some of them have been abandoned in the hospitals, lost in the justice system, and some families just can't cope.
Yeah.
So we extended the service. So what we focus on now is rehabilitation and reintegration back into society.
So how does that work? What are the resources that you offer at the center that will afford them the opportunity to be able to manage their mental health and come back into society and enjoy a full life?
First of all, I have to start by saying no man is an island. Ebenezer Rehab is a community-based project, and we are very blessed to have our local chairman of the Southern Regional Health Authority, Wayne Chen, and the regional director, Mr. Michael Bent. They're very supportive to us.
Excellent.
So Ebenezer Home, we have a psychiatrist, psychologist, and a medical doctor. So when we take a client in, we do a full and comprehensive treatment plan for that client. And the ultimate goal, as I said, is to get them back out into society. So the goal for that client is if they need to go back to school, they go back to school to do CXCs. If they need to go to Heart to learn a trade, they go to Heart to learn a trade. But as part of the rehab center, what we also offer is therapeutic classes. We do counseling, group and individual sessions. We have a working farm, so the men work on the farm. We also have a computer lab, so when they go to school, they can do their projects, as you can see.
Yeah.
We have a lovely computer lab there.
Yeah.
We work with the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica. They've provided us with a lovely water tank greenhouse for the farm. We have goats.
Yes. Yes, so I'm sorry about that. We just had a little technical challenge, but go ahead.
We have livestock, we have cows, we have goats, we have layers. So the men learn how to work. We teach them work ethic, and then we also teach them through our psychologists how to cope with life. Because I have to admit, one of the games you played earlier in your fun factor is one of the games we play at Ebenezer.
Nice.
Because that teaches the men to trust and to learn to communicate. Because most of our men forget how to trust because they've come from broken families and they've had no support throughout their lives. So
I think what is very important about the process too, Paulette, is, and we had this discussion yesterday about people who are involuntarily repatriated to Jamaica. It's allowing our men to feel valued. I think people are even afraid to admit they have a mental health issue because of how people will respond to them. And you're saying you want to stomp out the stigma. So how does this program help to do that?
Right, so currently we're working with our NCU student, Tia Osborne, and she's come on board to work with us because one of our major problems for ERC is the stigma that is attached to mental illness. If someone says they have diabetes or hypertensive, people rally around to support. If you say you have a mental illness, nobody wants to support, especially for men. So what this campaign is doing, we're focusing on our young men because we are losing our young men to mental illness. So what the campaign is doing, we'll be visiting NCU and Knox colleges, and we'll be talking to the young men and encouraging them that if they are feeling down, if they're feeling sad, talk about it. And we'll be doing workshops to teach them and say, right, if you're feeling anxious, stressed, because life right now is so stressful. And our young men are taught they mustn't cry, they mustn't show emotions. So we're going to be teaching them that it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay. Just because you cry doesn't mean you're not a man.
Correct.
In fact, it makes you more of a man if you can show your emotion. So that's what the workshop will be doing. We'll be working with them. And we've got some psychologists that are on board and will be at the workshops to help the young men. Because I find that more and more young men are turning, what they do is they turn to alcohol or they turn to drugs to cope. Because their mind is racing and they think, what is happening to me?
So, I mean, I've never seen a time, and you know, things change and times change, but this time is so fast-paced. And it requires so much emotionally and mentally from people.
And don't forget, we're emerging from
COVID-19. And the reality is, not many of us are structured to be able to cope with something like that. It's an abnormal time. And so it requires a kind of support system for people so that they're able to navigate the time. And I feel like our men, there's so much pressure on them.
Oh, men suffer greatly.
There's so much pressure on them to always be successful, always get it done, be tough, don't cry. You know, so this is really, really something that I have to commend you. For persons that are watching, two things. If they want to support ERC, how do they do that?
Right, we are looking for volunteers.
Okay.
People with, you don't have to have a special skill, but if you have farming skill, counseling skill, you know how to sew, get in touch with us, 963-3557. We're forever looking for donations, and it doesn't always have to be in cash. It can be in kind, because we also operate a drop-in system where men can just come up, shower, change their clothes.
Okay.
So we always need clothes, we always need shoes, we always need food, we always need cleaning agents, but cash donations, we're trying to put in a solar system right now. And I have to say, our Minister Mackenzie, actually came down to ERC.
Excellent.
And he actually loves the work that we're doing there. And he's helping us right now to pay our utility bills. So he's been a real godsend to us. So, but really, we just need people to come on board and support, because there is such a stigma attached to mental illness. If we were a children's home, and I know we have to support our children because they need us, but mental illness is so undervalued. Nobody takes it seriously. And we have to remember, it all starts with depression. Or you lose your job, you feel down, and it just snowballs from there.
It's so many different things, but I will end by saying, information and awareness is important.
Very.
And that's also one of the major ways we stop stigma, by continuing to talk about it. So thank you so much.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Community. We need to get back to where the community all steps in to help.
Center of the nation,
yes.
The community.
Community is very important. And thank you for having me, Daly.
Thank you so much for being here. Guys, if you can in any way support them, please do so. Ebenezer's Rehabilitation Center Operations Manager, Paulette Wheeler. Still to come, siblings create their own pastry empire. But first, here's News in 5 update.